when someone does have a negative self-image, then how can they escape it? Or like, let's say, how do they deal with the insecurity?
So basically, it starts with challenging our negative thoughts. So when we feel insecure, when we see people around us, so we tend to tell ourselves bad things to know about ourselves. So the first thing would be to challenge them, to listen to what we talk to ourselves and challenge them. Ask, challenging question: is it really true? Is it 100% true? Is it going to end like this? Are you, basing it on a fact or your emotion right now? Things like that. Challenging those negative thoughts is the first step you can take to fight your insecurity.
That's a very good point. And like asking questions is good because sometimes you aren't, you wouldn't think the same thing if you were thinking rationally, but then like something has happened, an event has occurred, and because of that, you have a temporary negative self-image, and you are reacting to it. Deepak?
Right. So to add to your point about questions, right? One thing is whether you're asking the right questions or not. Because when something goes wrong, a lot of us have the tendency to think, oh, everything in my life is going down, and I'm never going to feel better again. But most of the time, we vastly overestimate how badly we will feel if something happens, and we vastly overestimate how much judgment we get from the world. And at the same time, these are not particularly productive questions. Like if you had a bad day at work, you might want to ask how you can be better organized, for example, and then think about what your strengths are and weaknesses, limitations, opportunities, and so on. But if you were thinking more broadly and saying, why am I a failure? Right? That is not a helpful framing of the question. So how we frame the question and how we limit the scope of the question matters. I think that makes a difference to our narrative, and it challenges some of the more unproductive ways of thinking, like Krupa said.
Yeah, it is very true that we need to ask the right questions within the right scope. I would even add that sometimes when you have a negative self-image, while you think really negatively about yourself, it doesn't mean everybody else around you thinks the same way. But then since you are thinking it, you tend to think that others do too. But that's not really the case. Ilakkiya?
I want to build off something Deepak said of like asking the right questions, right? Because that's really easy to fall into of like, why was today a bad day versus why am I a failure? That's definitely an important distinction to make. And a word that I found is like thought distortions. So that's like distorted thoughts that are unreal, untrue, exaggerated, things like that. And I think one sort of distortion would be the scope of your success or failure and limiting that accordingly. So addressing thought distortions will definitely help counter a negative self-image. Like you have to recognize when you're being extremely negative to yourself, when you're having negative self-talk. Another thing I wanted to share is to not compare yourself to others. I think it's really easy, especially in competitive societies, to see other people and say, why are they doing so much? I'm not doing that much. I suck. They're great. So there's a quote like, comparison is the thief of joy. So like, don't compare yourself to other people. I've fallen in that trap a lot throughout college of like, other people have more friends, they have social groups, I only have a couple of like individual friends, they're getting internships, I'm not, they're doing all these great things, I'm not. And so avoiding comparison and recognizing what you are doing within your abilities and what you need to be doing at that point in time will help avoid comparison and avoid lowering your self-image.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you'd like to see more videos on the topic, make sure to check out our playlist where we answer more questions. We'll see you next time.